Welcome to the first episode of Arts and Wine. My name is Benji Falkson, and tonight I have with me my dear cousin, Yedidya Falkson.
How are Benji? What's up?
Who is an artist, an excellent artist, and we're going to be speaking about some of his art tonight, but also enjoying a glass of wine. I personally find that art appreciation is not so easy if you're not in the right mindset, and a glass of wine definitely helps with that, to appreciate art. And we have a beautiful bottle of wine today that we're going to be trying out, the Glam Cabernet Sauvignon, and looking forward to cracking that open, so that not only does wine help appreciate art, but it also helps to let the words flow, so hopefully the conversation keeps flowing.
Amen.
Okay, so if you don't mind me, I'm going to try and open this up and hopefully not make a fool of myself.
No worries. Benj, I want to say firstly thank you, and Shkach, thank you guys behind the camera and for setting everything up. Shkach, well done. It's a lekker little setup you guys have here, from the coffee space to the coffee cafe, and the art on the walls, and just every little detail is lekker. It's welcoming. Thank you guys. Ben Shkach, sure, you got it open there.
Yeah, managed.
L'chaim, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Rasha.
Let the wine flow.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen. Rasha.
Amen. Wow, it's a really nice wine. Smooth, easy on the palate. Excuse me, South African wine, easy on the palate.
It's South African wine.
It is, from the Onderkloof Estate.
Yeah.
And I think on this channel also I want to speak about wine, and by no means am I an art or wine expert. I'm just a simple guy giving an opinion. So this is a wine that I enjoy, and hopefully you'll enjoy it too.
Oh man, it's delicious. Really, really is lovely.
Yeah.
And now for Pesach, and the 4 glasses of wine is I know we chug it down on Pesach, but this is delicious wine.
Well, at least when you're chugging it, you can also enjoy it. It doesn't have to taste bad.
Like a label. Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so tonight we're speaking about a piece. This isn't the piece, we're going to be building it up. But the piece is the 5th son. So the theme, as we come up to Pesach, is the 4 sons, and we're going to build it up to the 5th son. We're going to explain all of these concepts. But actually, Yedidya is going to explain it because it's his artwork, and this is on Purim. We were sitting together, and it was Purim. So the lesson went into my mind, but it definitely wasn't 100% clear. And I'm very excited to get the revision and to really understand these concepts a lot more clearly, especially from the perspective that you had in painting these pieces, and then the final piece, which is the 5th son.
Thank you. So actually that night, sitting at the Aria's party and Hanan's party, the Aria hosted, that was a lekker evening. It was a very, very cool evening. And Benji and I sat at the end of the garden, and I brought up a topic that was, I don't know if poignant's the right word, but like it was appropriate at that moment in my life, and I wanted to share it especially with Benji, because you understand these things, and it's something that you're able to tackle and appreciate, and you're able to see. And I saw that I wanted to share it with you, and it was a piece of me that I wanted to share with the world, and specifically you. And now the fact that we're sitting here is beyond my wildest dreams. I could never imagine this, but thank you. Shkach.
Amazing. No, thank you for sharing it. It actually, it made my Purim. It really made my Purim. My Purim was transformative, and I can't wait to share this experience with with other people, and in the hope that it would be transformative for you. Pesach is a time of Geula, and redemption, growth is transformative and really an amazing thing.
Excuse me.
Okay, let's dive in.
So, where do we start? Okay, so just to give a bit of context, each individual who walks this earth grapples with their own voices in their head, if you would call it that, or their tools of understanding this world and understanding others. And what I wanted to explore was these tools, and the way I came about it was I actually went to a psychologist, and she helped me through the process. I was grappling with a certain concept, specifically with anxiety. And anxiety, not everyone has, but it's a common thing that people suffer from on a day-to-day basis, and it's something that I've been grappling with. And it came to a point where I was sitting, and I went to a psychologist, a very well recommended psychologist, and she took this concept of anxiety and she wanted to tap into the root of the anxiety. So what that meant was, instead of going the medication route and trying to see if there's something chemically imbalanced or something like that, it's rather, let's delve into the deepest parts of the psyche, of the mind, and bring out the true reason why anxiety is a common thing within my life specifically. So my psychologist introduced me to Schema Therapy. And for the next 45 minutes in the session, we sat and we discussed Schema Therapy. And it's an emotion, or it's something that it causes you to create these, what I'll go on to explain is these characters in the mind. Excuse me. And what specifically happened is, we identified my specific schema, that it's like as my psychologist explained it to me, it's like you're on the stage, and whenever this certain topic arises, you're on that stage and you have a script with it and everything like that. And I'm still grappling with that whole part of Schema Therapy, and I didn't quite understand it. I'm still trying to come to terms with it.
Right.
But what I've come to learn is that the characters that I've created in my mind to live life, to adjust with the moments. And the one thing that I came to an understanding was that from the Schema Therapy, there's 4 different modes within the mind. You have the vulnerable child, you have the punitive parent, you have the overachiever or overcompensator, the striver, and you have the healthy adult. So those are your 4 modes that you work with. So what my psychologist ended up actually tasking me to do was to create art with this.
Wow.
With these modes.
So can I just ask a question on that? The 4 modes, when you were exploring this, or when she was explaining this to you, were those 4 modes generic part of the schema that applied to everybody, or was it something that came out from your exploration of yourself?
So everyone has their schemas, or their schema, sort of their genre, or their framework of schema. And what ends up happening is, my specific schema relates to these specific modes. So it's a commonality. The modes are common throughout all schemas, but how they react and how they act are different to each person.
Okay.
So it's an exploration in specifically my schema, in my Schema Therapy, but the vulnerable child and the punitive parent are still the core modes within all schemas.
Okay,
so
fine.
Everyone shares the same mode.
Fine. So the exploration is very personal, but the
Yes.
modes are quite generic, which is how you then related it to me, which we're going to talk about more,
Yes.
is to the four sons in the Haggadah.
Yes.
So as we come to Pesach, let's just try and give a bit of context as well to this conversation, which is that we speak about four sons in the Haggadah, but actually the number 4 comes up a lot in the Haggadah. There's the 4 questions, the 4 sons, the 4 cups of wine, and these are based on, the 4 cups of wine at least are based on the 4 languages of redemption that God took the Jewish people out of Egypt. And these 4 schemas fitted into those 4 sons in some way, which you're going to explain. So yeah, let's carry on. Let's start the story.
But before we start, can I grab my water? I think I'll grab your water. There we are. Shkar. Thank you so much. Shkar. Thank you. Okay, so it all started, before we look at these artworks, it all started with a blueprint, and that I didn't bring tonight, but the blueprint was me just drawing out these 4 schemas, or these 4 modes, and just coming to terms with the imagery of each one. Because until that point in time, they were very abstract. They were like, I couldn't grapple with them, I couldn't see them. They were hidden, they were behind a veil. So this was me lifting that veil and seeing each character and seeing each mode as it is and who he is and who they are. And so to start off, we have the vulnerable child.
So colorful, beautiful.
So here we have color. It's in a realm of darkness. It's got the background of darkness. He's got the halo, which represents purity, which represents like cleansing, and just he's a pure soul.
And in the fetal position.
But he's in a fetal position. He's in a very vulnerable position. You can see his head is down. That's a key feature that later on I explore at depth. And this is the vulnerable child. And it started off as a pencil drawing, and then I went into the color, and I brought pastel. I have these beautiful Rembrandt pastels, soft pastels, and I just sat and drew with them. And every night, every evening, I'd sit down and allocate 20 minutes or 30 minutes to a drawing, and I'd draw the vulnerable child one night, the punitive parent another night. And here I had the graphic imagery of the vulnerable child in a position. He's in that fetal position, and he's very vulnerable. And over here you can see the light is coming from the purity of the halo. So the light is actually shining down upon him. He doesn't necessarily have his own light, but he's able to reflect light. He's able to be light. Wow. He's able to be light. But what this specific stage in life, if you can imagine it as when you are 3 years old and you're sitting in the garden and you're imagining and you're playing in your imaginary world, that is the first tool that is given to you, is this vulnerable child, is at that stage. So I'm just going to start off by saying that at birth you're given your identity, your name, the person who you are. You're given everything, and over time you interact with the world, and the world gives you certain reactions.
Right.
And through that reaction you create these tools to adapt and to interact with the world. So your first mode that you create in your mind is the vulnerable child. Now, the vulnerable child is lovely. It's awesome. It's interactive with the world. It's receptive. It's just
like play school.
It's like play school. It's just a state of play. It's a state of imagination. It's absolutely lovely. But what ends up happening, there comes a point when someone in your life or somewhere in your life, the words grow up are introduced.
Grow up.
And at that point, to survive in this world, you create a voice in your head. You create a secondary mode, which at first is a very important mode. It's very important because it's introducing...
Are we moving into the next piece?
We're moving into the next piece.
Okay.
It's introducing this growth within life. So that mode that is introduced is called the punitive parent. That you'll be punished if...
Consequences for your actions. Grow up.
Exactly. So let's say a kid is playing in the sand or is singing on the top of their lungs in public. And it's a beautiful thing. They have a beautiful voice. They just learned a new song. They've got a connection to it. They're expressing themselves. But yet comes an adult or an older sibling or someone who's just years in experience of them, tells them to grow up, and it's not the right thing to do in that environment. So they have to grow up, and then they tell themselves that you're going to be embarrassed. You're going to be you start telling yourself that something bad's going to happen, that you have to...
So what, you become embarrassed of the vulnerable child, like
so
the schema?
vulnerable child becomes...
embarrassing because it's immature or it's too young. It's not grown up.
Exactly, and it has to grow up, and it has to...
So we put away the vulnerable child.
So the vulnerable child gets put aside. It doesn't get put away entirely. Excuse me, it does grow and stay with us throughout life.
Okay.
But what ends up happening is we start to listen to this punitive parent all the time. And the thing about the punitive parent is it's very healthy for a certain amount of time. When you become an adult and you become a person in society and you become a giver to others and you become someone who others are dependent on, and you're no longer in that state of play, the punitive parent starts holding you back. And the way it holds you back is through anxiety, through depression.
I'm not good enough.
You start...
I'm not doing well enough.
Exactly.
I'm not enough.
Exactly. So this punitive parent is healthy because it helps you grow up through your 4s, your 5s, your 6s.
To take responsibility.
You start taking responsibility, but then becomes a time when you have responsibilities and this thing is telling you that you're still not enough, that it's always going to go wrong, something's always going to go bad.
Right, wow.
So it's something that it starts holding you back.
Okay. So should we go to not yet the next one? Okay, sorry, finish that.
But you can see through this one, it's angular, it's binary, it's two-dimensional.
And it's black and white.
It's black and white. It's a very...
It's also quite scary.
That's what I try to achieve.
It's very scary. It's like a very aggressive zebra or something.
Yeah, I like that. So it's that rhythm on the teeth.
Yeah.
That you can see it in. It's something. One thing I really like. I've really noticed is the dark black eyes. Is that there's it's soulless. It's like there's nothing there. It's void of everything.
But you've spoken so positively about this phase, and yet I'm struggling to see the positive in the picture.
So the positive is it's in his being. It is here. He's within the dialogue. You need balance.
You need it.
You need that balance. You need absolute good and there's absolute bad, but there's that balance.
In a sense, it provides a lot of structure and form that's lacking in this picture here, where there's beautiful color and it's all flowing. It's almost like flowing into each other. there's no almost or very few straight lines here, whereas there it's like quite structured,
angular, like.
Yeah. Okay. So should we go to the next one?
So this one over here. So what's interesting that happens is once the punitive parent kicks in, the vulnerable child gets into a state of overachiever and overcompensator and strives. Says, I'm going to prove the punitive parent wrong.
Right.
So I'm going to work the hardest. I'm going to be the best. I'm just going to be flawless, and I'm going to be
Superman.
So, but the whole thing is that it's very plain. It's very simple. The imagery is, it's cause and reaction. It's like.
Okay.
It's nothing.
It's kind of like taking the system of consequence that punitive parent introduced, that your actions have consequence, and flipping it on its head and saying, well, you know what, my good actions also have consequences, incredibly good consequences.
Exactly, and I'm going to prove that wrong. I'm going to prove you wrong, and have that all the time.
Okay, wow.
And it's like a superhero state. That's what I saw, is that superhero, like.
Right, superhuman.
Yeah, you're superhuman. You suddenly get superhuman capabilities as a human, and it's something that.
So the rebound of that anxiety that one may experience from the punitive parent is like this overachiever.
Yes.
I'm going to use the system, and I'm going to be the best.
Exactly.
No matter what.
I'm going to show the punitive parent wrong.
Right.
I'm going to prove him wrong.
Okay.
So, but the whole thing is, there's a beautiful moment where the healthy adult comes into play.
Okay, the fourth
element, the fourth mode or schema. And what the healthy adult does is the healthy adult actually embraces the vulnerable child. He doesn't ask questions. He doesn't.
Oh, wow.
He just accepts. And it doesn't accept in the sense of accepting his fate and just giving up. He's there, he's present, he's solid, he's got weight, it can be in whatever form, it can be whatever their specific healthy adult looks like. My specifically healthy adult's wearing a talus. It's reached the state of completion of manhood, of that you get to wear a talus.
Once you're married, you get to wear a talus.
So for me, it's like. And here, the key feature is that the light's is shining from the healthy adult's face to the vulnerable child.
So the source of light is the healthy adult, and still the vulnerable child is reflecting.
Yes.
But it's not a halo; it's the healthy adult.
Yes. And the whole area behind the healthy adult is a state of darkness, just like in the vulnerable child state.
Right.
So you've got this darkness in reality, and then you've got this light in.
But I love how the talus separates between the darkness and the light.
That's very
in that space.
And it's over the head, it's over double covering. It's
wow.
Yeah. And so that's the healthy adult. Now, I took this a step further. That's one thing I wanted to. There's 2 points that I want to just speak about, and that's the one thing is the 4 sons.
Let's relate these to the 4 sons. Maybe if you can teach us that.
So the thing about the 4 sons, I didn't necessarily see it at first, but I know in Gomorrah you have, what's that word called? When you see one thing in one place and you see it in another place, you derive the same.
Like the Xerashava, when the word appears in 2 places and you connect it.
Exactly, you connect the 2 and it has the same outcome or the same result.
Like learn a law from one place to the other.
So I saw the number 4 and I said, you know what, the 4 is also symbolic of the 4 children.
Right.
The 4 sons. So, but this is the interesting thing, but if I reintroduce this, what I found is, this is the Chacham, this is the wise son. Okay. So you have the 4 sons in the Haggadah, and you got the wise son, the wicked son, the simple son, and the one who doesn't know how to ask.
Okay.
And it flips the dialogue that we've always had from when we were kids on its head.
I think before you say this thought, I just want to interject it, because the dialogue, another dialogue that we've always heard, growing up, is that the four sons are perhaps four people that exist in the world. We've got the Chacham, the guy who goes to yeshiva and is learning, and then the evil son is the guy who doesn't keep any Torah and mitzvahs. But then there is also another interpretation, which I have heard, but this is going on that line of thinking, that the four sons isn't people that exist in reality, individuals, but rather all four sons exist within ourselves to some degree. And let's carry on that thought now, that it's within ourselves.
Definitely. So that each one represents the four sons within ourselves, as you say.
So you're saying the vulnerable child is the Chacham. Yeah, so you said that the vulnerable child is actually the Chacham. I mean, that's very interesting for me. How are you going to explain that?
So what I personally believe is that instead of perceiving the Chacham as a scholar, as that type of identity or that type of persona, I would imagine them as the purest state. It speaks about how it's the Chacham asks you the question of the laws of Pesach, that he includes himself in the Pesach Seder. He includes himself in the
so the self-inclusiveness.
He's involved in reality. He's one with reality. So too is the vulnerable child. He's completely involved. He is the experience.
Right.
But the whole thing is that he's asking for the laws. He's asking for more information about it. He's including himself. So the vulnerable child does the same thing, I personally believe. That he's in this world. He's one with reality. He's...
Right. And often we think of Chochmah, of like knowledge, wisdom, as something that is attained. This is what we think about, like the scholar. He's learned the Chochmah, as opposed to, actually we see by the building of the Mishkan, where the people, the wise people, the Chachamim, anyone that was inspired to build the Mishkan came. They were never trained, they were never taught, but they had innate wisdom.
That instinct, that like...
The knowledge of knowing that like, I am an infinite source.
Yes.
Because I'm a part of the infinite.
So that's exactly I think that's the perfect way to say it. I can't say it any better than that. So that would be the Chacham, the vulnerable child.
Wow.
Then the punitive parent is, obviously, we can relate it to the wicked son.
Okay.
And what the interesting thing about the punitive parent is that it says lachem, to you. He's separating himself from the...
Right, excludes himself from the community or from the...
So to the punitive parent, it's a point of external speaking to the internal. It's a point of like outsider speaking in. So that's quite, I believe, is like a very self-explanatory one, and what we've always grown up saying is the Rasha is you have to knock his teeth out or something. There's a Meforish that speaks about that.
That's what we do with him. You have to be very blunt with it.
And you have to take out his teeth.
Right.
His tool, which is sharp, and like that's...
Yes, the words. He uses his mouth to speak harshly. And we speak harshly to ourselves.
Exactly. So
I actually heard an amazing thing this week, that the most... The voice that we hear the most in our lives is our own, and therefore we should use that to say good things about ourselves.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So this would be speaking the opposite of negative things.
Right. So just knock out his teeth to stop that negative speech. It has a positive outcome in terms of responsibility, etc. But when it's too much, you have to just tell it to stop.
Yeah, exactly. But then we have this is what I believe is the simple son, is the striver and the overachiever, the overcompensator, because he's simple. It's cause and reaction. It's
wow.
There's not much to it. It's just like
we said, like the consequence. Understanding that there's cause and effect in life, and it's simple.
Yeah.
And then just playing the system, like for good.
There's nothing to it.
There's no depth in that.
There's no depth in it. It's two-dimensional. It's like it's
do good, good results.
Yeah, it's like it's just I would say like iconography. Like it's just sums up an idea into one picture or one thing. It's like it takes a large concept, simplifies. It's just simplifying the idea.
Wow.
And then you have what I believe that flips everything on its head is the healthy adult is the She'eino Yodea Lish'ol. He doesn't know how to ask.
Wow.
Now, it's not as we perceive a little baby who doesn't know how to ask. He's a full-grown adult.
Right.
But he doesn't have the capability of asking. He doesn't have it in his toolkit. He doesn't have the question in his toolkit because he's present. He's there.
Right. I mean, the older I get, the less questions I have.
So
I don't know if that's what you're saying, but...
You many years, my seniors, I don't know what... Like, I know I'm still learning this all. You've experienced a lot more than I have in this world. So I'm taking the word as
But I definitely have less questions about life. Like it's much more, just being present. I think the most important thing for me is to be present in any moment without overcomplicating it myself.
And asking a question, I could imagine, like separates that.
Oh yeah, the more questions you have, the more details, the more complicated you make everything. So like just keep things simple and
exactly. So therefore, not even having the toolkit, not even having it in the toolkit, the question to ask in the toolkit, you actually just in reality, and you flow within reality, and you're in a flow state. Now, these are the 4 sons.
Right.
Now, I want to mention the 5th son, because there is a 5th son, but I think we're going to leave that to last.
Well, we're going to leave it to last, but we're going to, maybe I think you brought it up now, so let's talk about it first from the traditional perspective, right? Because the 5th son doesn't appear in the Haggadah. I think the 5th son, at least, for most people's knowledge of it, was introduced by the Overachiever in the 50s. And he spoke about the 5th son is the son that's not even at the Pesach Seder. And I think the idea then, when he was speaking, was primarily the assimilated Jew that's so lost, he's not even at a Pesach Seder, and he's not asking any questions because he's not even around.
Yeah.
And therefore the mission was, at that point in time, was to find all of those lost Jews. Now that was when he introduced the concept. But once the concept of a 5th son is introduced, it's kind of now canonized into the body of Torah, and it flips back into something that we can expound upon. Like the 5th cup of wine at the Seder, the cup of Eliyahu, like it's there. We only have 4 cups, but there's actually a 5th cup, and it's
that's
just
one that's the most grand.
Right, and nobody drinks it, but it exists. Which there's a 5th language of Geula, which we'll speak about a bit more as well, of redemption, a 5th word of redemption, which isn't mentioned, but we'll get there. But so now, carry on.
Let's the series of work continues a little bit into understanding a bit more of each mode.
Okay.
So now we've mentioned the 5th son. The 5th son is something that comes at the completion of everything.
Okay.
So what I introduced is, what I saw is, you have these 4 characters within a mind. Now, each man, each human walking this earth, each woman walking this earth, has their 4 characters. Need to be under a different schema, need to be under a different... The modes are the same.
Right.
So what unites us all is that we all have this commonality between each other. And what I saw is that you have one human interacting with another human. There's a maths formula there. That you have the 4 modes introducing the 4 modes of another human being. So now you've got each mode can interact with another mode in this reality.
Okay.
So like as we sit here tonight, you have your 4 modes and I have my 4 modes. So each of us could be bringing to the table one of the modes.
So 4 times 4 is 16 quite simply. So we've got 16 interactions.
Scenarios
All right.
which can actually happen over here. So just to run through them quickly, because
All right. There's a lot, so we can't spend too much time on each one.
So here we have the vulnerable child meeting a vulnerable child. If each page, the subject being talked about, the mode being talked about, is on the left-hand side, and he's the multiple.
Okay.
So you've got the vulnerable child and the vulnerable child interacting with each other. It's the top left-hand corner, and you see they've got the halo on top of each other. They
face each other.
They're facing each other, but their heads are tucked down.
Right, but they resemble the kruvim, the cherubs, and
that's interesting. I've never thought of that before. That's an interesting.
Right, the two Chachamim, the vulnerable children facing each other.
But they don't. The only thing is that they don't pass anything to each other. They're just embracing each other and accepting each other's scenarios and environments.
Yeah.
Then you have the vulnerable child meeting a punitive parent.
All his colors drained.
His colors drained. He's cold. He's over.
And the punitive parent is arching over
him. And he's like, and you can see this is where I introduced this punitive parent, and he's actually a character I've drawn multiple times throughout my life. And I've noticed each of these characters I've drawn throughout my life. So it's just reintroducing them and me acknowledging that that's them.
Yes.
So this is the punitive parent overarching over the vulnerable child, and then the vulnerable child with the overachiever, over the Strava. He's a remnant of the cape. He's just remnants. He's not.
It's kind of like he's casting a shadow over the vulnerable child.
He's casting a shadow, and also
in a sense,
the color is blending from the cape. It's just like
right.
The overachiever is just way too big for him, and it's just the only thing is that he can attach to is the cape.
Something like behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have the vulnerable child meeting the healthy adult.
They're on the same level, the same as the...
Yes, that he's on the same level.
So the healthy adult comes down to the level of the vulnerable child.
And here, he's accepting him and embracing him, and he lifts his head. So there's a possibility of change.
Oh, wow. Sure, okay.
Then, on top of that, we have the punitive parent interacting with everyone.
Okay, next step.
This is my personal favorite.
Oh, really?
This is, I don't know why, but I believe this is one of my better pieces of drawing that I've done.
Sure, okay.
It's just, I find the graphicness is playful. It's something it's walking a thin line.
Right. I mean, that first scene, tell me about that.
So here we are. This is not for sensitive eyes. But we have the punitive parent decapitating the vulnerable child.
Sure.
And the blood is dripping from the knife, and it's a gruesome scene.
That's what it does. The punitive parent's like almost from his perspective, his goal is to kind of
slaughter the vulnerable child. And using that language is specific because that's its action. It's a very harsh and very...
Right. It's trying to kill that purity.
Yeah, and that's...
Grow up. It's trying to make the vulnerable child grow up.
Then you have the two punitive parents interacting with each other. They embrace each other, but they're strangling each other at the same time.
Okay.
And there's a knife on the side which shows that like tension. That's
okay.
And the two of them have these sadistic smiles kind of thing. They enjoying this. They kind of egg each other on.
Yes.
In that world, and it's something that's very. It happens a lot, and it's something that I mean,
it just came to mind now. It's like when two siblings are teasing each other.
Exactly, and
they're just trying to get under each other's skin for what reason? Who knows?
Exactly, and it gets that riled up, and it's still you embracing each other because you're communicating and you're having that.
Yes, it's a connection.
It's a connection. It's a unifying act, but at the same time, it's one that's strangling. It's something that's.
It doesn't make you feel good.
Yeah, and then you've got your punitive parent with the overachiever, and he takes the heart out of the overachiever's chest.
Oh yeah.
So what he does is he causes the overachiever to do it emotionlessly, without emotion.
To doubt himself.
So the overachiever does whatever the overachiever does, but without any emotion, without any heart, without any soul, he just does it because that's what he's coded to do.
Right, I need to do good to create good results.
Exactly. and he takes the heart out, and you can see it's still like pulsating. It's a very graphic, yeah.
Extremely.
But here what happens is a very interesting thing. What happens is when the two meet, the healthy adult and the punitive parent.
Right, what happens there?
The punitive parent grows skin and sheds a tear. I don't know, it's a small little moment, but he sheds a tear. So what that does is he shows that he's human. He shows that he's got faults. He shows that he's got skin. He shows that he's not just this concept of death. He's a concept of life as well.
Wow.
And he sheds a tear, and he's got the halo above him showing him purity, showing him as purity as well. And he sheds a tear as the concept of teshuvah, repentance.
Yes. So the healthy adult makes the punitive parent schema mode feel like they're also part of this story.
That they feel part. They are part.
They are part. Not just they feel. Yeah, sorry. They are part. And actually without them, it would be missing.
Exactly. And he wears a suit. He
looks like a mensch.
He's
like a man.
He's a slick character. He's a very slick character. And here...
He's actually got the detail in the face and all the color of the vulnerable child, where the vulnerable child never had face.
He's got face,
but got the color.
Yes. Wow. And then we can move on to the last two slides, is the very simple, again, whenever I interact with this,
it's simple.
It's a very simple reality, where he
again
diminishes and overshadows the vulnerable child, diminishes and overshadows the punitive parent. When he meets another overcompensator, when the overcompensator meets another overcompensator, the strivers,
they just reflect each other.
Reflection. It's a mirror state. They don't actually like join. It's like by you standing in a mirror. It's like reflecting. It's not.
Wow.
It does nothing. They overachieve together.
Yes.
But what's actually interesting, what I found when I drew the healthy adult interacting with the overachiever, is that the healthy adult is lifting the overachiever like a child, like a father would do to a child, like making him like an airplane flying in the sky.
Right. So what does that mean?
So what that means is, in this specific image, what I interpret is that the overachiever, the overcompensator, in his mind, says that he's flying. He's the reason for his flight.
He thinks his actions, I'll do good, the consequence is good. You know, my inputs create my outputs. But in reality, it's the healthy adult is lifting him up, is the one who's causing that, is the one who's giving him the tools, the one who's allowing him the space to do so. Right, to experience that.
Yes.
That reward of
exactly. Exactly, but he's when you first see him throughout all the slides, he's not.
Well, he looks like he's independent.
Exactly, he looks like he's independent, but that's in this mind of the overachiever, the striver.
Wow.
And there's one little nuance in here in the last slide that I'd like to show. But the last slide, this is a complex scene.
This is all the healthy adults interacting.
All the healthy adult interacting with each of them.
Okay.
Now, the thing is, here we are, is this one also. So, just one last thing is that if you see the borders, they're all blurred between all the images.
Okay.
But this one has fine defined borders.
Okay.
Now, here we are, you have the healthy adult with the vulnerable child. He's in a state, it's the morning, the sun is rising, he's in a luxurious room, there's a chandelier, there's a mobile hanging on top of the...
He's got his tefillin on now.
He's got his tefillin, he's saying the morning Shema.
Okay.
So he's got his talis on, he's saying the morning Shema. So here, he's taking care of the spiritual realms. He's taking care of the physical realms and the spiritual realms while the vulnerable child is sleeping.
He's creating the halo, the environment of light.
I didn't see that, but that's
that the vulnerable child can radiate and reflect.
Exactly. And he's that source. He's that...
Right, he creates it.
Exactly.
He creates the environment by putting on talis and tefillin, by saying Shema. He's generating light in the world.
Amen.
Wow.
And then we have the second image is the healthy adult interacting with the punitive parent, and they're sitting like in as a chavrusa.
Right. He's challenging.
And they're challenging and they're learning with each other.
Yes.
And here the punitive parent has his skin. He's interacting. He's got a cup of whiskey next to him, and the healthy adult has a cup of water, just to show the Torah and the the Yotze Yain. That's another.
Nichnas yain yatsa sod. When the wine goes in, the secrets come out.
So it's just that there's many concepts within here, and they are level. They are seeing each other eye to eye, and they're speaking as a chavrusa.
Yes.
But the one thing is that the healthy adult's pointing something out within the book.
Okay.
He's pointing something out to the punitive parent, saying that there's something within the deeper essence that the punitive parent
You're missing.
not seeing.
Right. There's something that you're missing.
Exactly.
There's something I can teach you, actually.
And here, the punitive parent is wearing the binary reality as a hat. That black and whiteness as a hat. He can take it off.
Okay.
It's something he can take off. It's not him. It's not his core identity.
It's just a lavush. It's just clothing.
It's just clothing.
Okay, wow.
And then you have the overachiever. Now, we all know that one experience when we fell asleep on the couch at dinner, or we fell asleep somewhere and we woke up in our beds. Like that was something that...
How did that happen? How did we end up there?
So this is what's happening in this scene here. The healthy adult is putting the overachiever to sleep. Now the overachiever crashed. He's finished.
Right.
He hit
Burnt all of his reserves. He's done.
Exactly. He hit the wall. But the one thing that there's light coming in from the outside, from the warmth of the healthy adult's area.
Right.
And it's the overachiever is going to bed, and it's a luxurious scene. But there's one little nuance, that there's a star chart on the wall for the overachiever. That with each striving, with each achievement, he gets a gold star. He gets a...
It's the system. It's of reward and punishment, like it's consequence. Yeah.
So that's the moment of the overachiever, is that he's doing it for a reason. He's being rewarded for it. It's a good trait to have.
Right.
And then the final scene is two healthy adults interacting with each other. And this is a space of Simchas Torah. This is a space where the healthy adult...
Rejoicing with the Torah.
Not only with the Torah, that the other healthy adult becomes the Torah.
Oh, wow. It's like the healthy adult has the crown of the Torah.
Exactly. And
embodying the Torah.
There's no face. There's no... They've lost their...
Individuality in a sense.
And they've become energy. They've become dance. They've become rhythm. They've become that moment where your foot hits the floor.
Wow, there's one with the universe.
And it's something, that's what they become. And they're holding the Torah as the neshama. Now, quick point, there's that saying with the four sons, that a full Torah is not complete without each individual letter within
it. If a letter is missing in the Torah, then it's a puzzle, invalid Torah.
So this brings us to the fifth child.
Okay, the fifth son. So the first son doesn't appear in the words of the Torah.
Yes, but yet there's the concept that if there's one letter missing within the Torah, so here we've got the healthy adult becomes the Torah. He becomes that, embodies the Torah. But for a kosher Torah, it has to have every bit. So it says, we learn this from the moment when the placement of the wicked son next to the wise son. Why are the two next to each other? Because you have to say that you can't leave out the wicked son because he's wicked. Because even though he's wicked, he's still got place within the Torah. He still represents a letter within the Torah.
Which the healthy adult showed him that, we need you. You're part of the story.
Exactly. But this teaches us that there's that person who is so far gone.
I've actually just realized that I made a grave mistake. This is not a Cabernet Sauvignon. This is a Cabernet Franc. Sorry, I wasn't reading the label. I should have. But very delicious. They do have a Cabernet Sauvignon, so you'll see it in the store, in Glenny's. And let's carry on now. So let's wrap this up into the fifth son.
The fifth son that's too far gone.
The elusive fifth son.
So he's not even at the table. He doesn't know that the Seder is even happening. He's so void of the experience. He's just out there in the world. He doesn't know that we're sitting at the table and speaking about this.
He doesn't know who he is.
He doesn't know who he is.
He's lost completely.
He doesn't have that identity of who he is. Exactly. He doesn't have that essence. He's gone.
Right.
So what actually what I came to understand from these images and after this whole process is, as the Rebbe brings that there's the fifth child, how does the fifth child introduce himself? How does he interact with the world? So over here, once the healthy adults meet and he reaches a state of completion within the healthy adult, he returns to that original naming at the breast. He returns to the original birth, that original
before like becoming the vulnerable child.
Exactly,
just that infant, that newborn baby,
that essence, that potential, that life is the fifth child. And if you want to do
let's do the reveal now. So I mean, now that we've seen all of this complexity, we can maybe appreciate the complexity in this image. Wow. I just want to tell you about this piece that, I said it was a transformative Purim for me. And it really was. And I asked you to send me these pictures on WhatsApp so I could meditate on them. And my Shushan Purim, the day after Purim, honestly, I looked at this picture and I looked in his eyes. I mean, it could be a self-portrait of you. It could be, some people have said it looks a bit like you, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I saw myself. Like, I not that I saw myself in the picture, but in the eyes, I connected to a part of myself. And I think this is what you're talking about, which is that essential self. Like I saw my essential self, the fifth son, who I was at birth, and I broke down. Honestly, I broke down, and I think I cried for about an hour, to be honest.
Sure, that's. I
mean, that was the experience that I had after seeing all of the complexity and in this. That I asked a few people today. I showed them the picture. What do they see? And they said like, he looks sad in the eyes, because the eyes are saying so much, but then there's all the complexity of the layers and the colors, and really you can see how the colors in this picture are almost like a blend of everything else, all the other colors. You don't have the extreme brights and darks, but it all blends and merges into this piece. But there's just so much depth that the person is just present. It's like I'm still here after all of my hardships, the scars, the bruises, the
battering,
the battles that I've been through, the challenges that I've overcome. I'm still here,
and not just.
And this is what I look like.
Exactly, and it's not just I'm still here as I am now, but as I was intended to be.
Exactly.
As I was.
It's the completion of it, because now it's not just that infinite child in potential. It's all of that potential in reality, in this,
within the constructs of a portrait, or within the limitations of a self-portrait, specifically when it comes to this specific image.
Right.
It's trying to capture, as you say, that infinite. That now, interesting thing on my end, on this side, for drawing this work, is it took me quite a while to get to this point, because I sat in front of the mirror and I drew it out, and I drew the outline, and then I took it away from the mirror and I took it and started working into it. And what I found was the marks started resembling those of the different modes,
schemas,
and the schemas. And I started, and at first I was very upset with what was happening. And it was like, but I had to come to terms that this is what it is.
Yes.
And it's something that is very hard to come to terms with. Because in the initial blueprint that I drew an extra character. And I didn't know what that was. Only did I find out once I drew this, that this is what that character was.
Right.
And now what's actually interesting is I've gone back to the psychologist, and we've spoken further. And now she posed the question of, how does the fifth child interact with the world? How does he interact with the embodied world?
Wow, okay.
And now this is how he interacts with the embodied world.
What do you mean by that?
He's here, he's present, he's in with the space, with the lights, with the
Just being present.
being present. He's in the embodied world.
Yes.
He's created a history past than just the mark making. He's
Yes.
created a legacy that's bigger than just a moment in time. He's creating something bigger. So that is the fifth child within the embodied world. And that's the key point, is that once we interact with the fifth child, that potential and that power is imbued into the embodied world. It's like, it's tangible, I guess. It's within reality. It's
You create. It's creative. You can be creative, like genuinely creative in a godly sense, that you can make something and be involved. But I want to speak about the fifth language of Geula. So when I mentioned the four languages of Geula, so the languages of redemption, so the 4 cups of wine that we drink on the Seder night relate to these 4. And just to briefly translate them, they are V'hotzeiti, which is I took you out, God took us out of Egypt. V'hitzalti, I saved you. V'go'alti, I redeemed you. V'lokachti, and I took you. All of those things, I saved you, I took you out of Egypt, referring to the Jewish people. And then the 5th word that's brought is V'hevesi, and I brought you. And it struck me that the first 4, the 4 that we kind of acknowledge, is God removing us from a situation, God redeeming us, saving us, taking us out or away from that oppression of Egypt, from that state that we were in of being slaves in Egypt, right? Which is what we're remembering. But obviously applying it to our lives, Hashem takes us out of that bad situation. But the 5th language is not one of taking away from something, but rather v'hevesi, and I will bring you to. It's an arrival. The 5th language of redemption is arriving. Arriving at what? Well, it's not clear. Well, arriving at Mashiach, at redemption.
It's arriving at this.
Right, at that state of being absolutely present with all parts of your personality. I don't know, yeah. What do you think?
I personally believe there's another topic for another time, that Mashiach's here and always has been. So that they see, and I'll bring you that.
Yes, it's about us arriving at Mashiach.
It's us arriving at Mashiach, but it's not a point in time that will be.
Right.
We've arrived. We
have the world has arrived, and as individuals we need to arrive to that space.
Yes,
and just tap into it in our minds.
But we have to acknowledge that this is that space.
Yes.
And the next moment, that in the next millisecond, that next moment, Ivasi, I will bring it.
It'll arrive at that moment as well.
Get that moment as well. And it's here. It's this within our tangible realities, within the embodied world. It's here.
Right. Wow. So, I mean, we had to build up all of that. Thank you. Thank you, Yedidya, for explaining everything. Because this piece, I don't think you can really appreciate it fully without all of that explanation. And I had the privilege of hearing it from you, so I wanted to share that with everyone else. And please God, we should be able to share this message with everybody. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and looking forward to having another conversation, discussing art and wine in the future. Thank you, Yedidya, for coming.
Thank you, Benji. Shkach. Thank you so much. It was really, really a pleasure, and just having the opportunity to speak and having this opportunity to be in this space with you guys as well behind the camera. And
thank you guys. Really appreciate
so
this.
Much. You guys set up a phenomenal set. You've done a great task of creating an environment for allowing information and knowledge and discussion and communication and conversation to flow. And I really thank you guys. And Benji, shkach.
Thank you, Yedidya,
for getting us to this point. Shkach. You're visionary.
Man.
Thank you so much. L'chaim u'levracha. Shkach.
L'chaim u'levracha.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.